Hello, and welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We're looking at the weekend of December 15th, 1989, and we've got 7 movies to look at. All of them have notable elements to them in varying degrees. Like, some movies are good, some movies are good, some movies are great, some movies ended up being Oscar winners, movies that didn't end up being big hits but at the time, but have grown on to have cult followings. And then there are some little gems here and there that you probably haven't heard of, but you might want to give a shot at. So, with all that said, let's get right to it. So let's go ahead and get to the first movie, the biggest grossing of the newest releases this weekend. But as always, if it only makes $2 million, is it really the biggest hit out that weekend? Probably not, but it's notable for a couple of reasons, and we're going to talk about that after we watch this trailer. It's The Wizard with Fred Savage.
What do you think it's a California, please?
It's $226.
Well, we only have $27.30. What does that get us?
No.
Corey's taking his brother Jimmy on a ride.
These two boys already traveled more than 80 miles across the state.
We've hired someone to find him.
What's his problem? He's just shy.
But Jimmy's got a secret
You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?
that could make this the ride of their lives.
Look at him. He's a wizard. He's headed for the video championship.
This guy?
What is that?
Power glove.
Yeah, well, just keep your power gloves up front, right?
With a touch of romance
I am not kissing a boy.
and a ton of trouble.
That's huge.
We're too late.
Sorry about that. You maniac!
They'll get there any way they can.
Hey, here we come!
It's Jimmy! It's Jimmy!
Come here! Stop them! Hey!
Now, what do you think you're doing to him?
All his life, you've been telling him to do what you want him to do. How about once you ask him what he wants to do, huh?
Now,
Video Armageddon.
it's going to take a lot of guts,
You can do it!
a little magic,
You're the best!
and the wizard, Fred Savage. The Wizard.
So this was Fred Savage's second big screen outing after the Wonder Years. We already had Little Monsters earlier in the year, but more importantly, this movie had a lot of extensive product placements, not just for Universal Studios. I mean, the third act of the movie is pretty much taking place in Universal Studios Hollywood, so you're going to see a lot of Universal properties in this movie, but more importantly, you see a lot of Nintendo in this movie. Nintendo had an extensive amount of product placement in this movie. Some for stuff that was pretty awesome, like this was the first time many people saw Super Mario Bros. 3 for the first time anywhere in North America. And then they introduced the Power Glove, and I don't think I need to tell you how that panned out. But, as far as the movie itself goes, it's difficult, it's complicated. Like, it's a very generic movie, to say the least. Like, it's a very formulaic story. There's nothing really exciting or different that makes it stand out on its own. It just doesn't really do anything to push itself to another level that it should be good at. But I mean, I don't hate it either. Like, I went into this thinking, okay, I've heard the bad things about it. Chances are I'm probably not going to like this movie all that much. But I didn't hate it. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. I think it's just kind of in the middle. Like, I see elements in here that do kind of work, but the stuff that doesn't really work just really doesn't come together in the end. I think the biggest problem with this movie has, like I said before, it's basically just a feature-length commercial for Universal Studios Hollywood and Nintendo, but it's one of those things that's made by people that clearly have no idea what Nintendo really can do. Like, in this movie, they make it seem like Nintendo brings everybody together. Like, it brings the whole family together. And it's just like, good and damn well that Nintendo does not bring the family together. At least not with this. Of course, they tried to do it later on with, like, the Wii and all that. The Wii and the Switch and all that. But yeah, good and well that Nintendo doesn't bring people together like this movie makes you think it does. But even for a movie about Nintendo, there's not really a whole lot there for it. I mean, overall, the biggest problem with the movie is that it's a movie that it's basically the same problem we have with most video game movies nowadays. Like most video game movies, they think they know their source material. They think they know what's going to appeal to people, but this movie, it just doesn't really feel like that. And even though Nintendo clearly had a lot of influence on this movie, I just don't think it was enough of what they really wanted to get from this. And I think it was also because they had to rush this out quickly, because they actually were supposed to put this out in the summer of '90, but because the Jetsons movie was dealing with so many behind-the-scenes production problems, they pushed that one back and they pushed this one up. So maybe that's why we didn't really get the movie that I think they really wanted to get, because they had to rush this out so quickly. But yeah, other than that, The Wizard doesn't really have a whole lot there. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's as great as most people were expecting it to be. But it's basically run-of-the-mill. I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I mean, it's fine for what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. A movie you probably never heard of, but the cast in it is pretty good. Family Business.
What, are you crazy? I spent my lifetime thieving with my father, and now I'm going to thieve with my son. The two of you crazy?
What a day this has been.
It's not safe to be a thief.
Who the hell put in your head that being safe is what life is all about?
Too young to play it safe.
And me too. What a grand mood I'm in.
Along with those strong genes, my father passes on a lot of other crap to go with it. So you stay away from him, all right?
Why, it's almost like being in love.
High stakes, low risk, non-violent. Jimmy Choo pays us an even million.
I'm in.
You're starting at the top.
Yeah, that's America. Every generation does a little bit better.
You are not listening to me! Listen to me! You don't listen to my freaking me! What the hell is wrong with your family?
What's wrong with my family is my lunatic father.
This is why I hated putting on your snowsuit.
Hey!
Did we bust into the wrong place?
There's nothing like a good robbery to bring a family together.
Welcome home, Vito.
This is one of those movies that when I had a CD warehouse around where I live, I would find it in there. I'd find it for dirt cheap. I'd see the cast. It's just like Sean Connery, Dustin Hoffman, Matthew Broderick. Sounds pretty good. Directed by Sidney Lumet. Sounds good. Let me watch it. And you watch it, and it's just like, I mean, there's stuff. I mean, the trailer looked pretty promising. I like the music choice they had. I like some of the comedy elements in there. But when you watch the movie itself, it's just like, it's just okay. Like, I think it's kind of like The Wizard. It's just okay. It doesn't really do a whole lot to make it stand out on its own. It has a good concept, has a good premise, great cast in it. But when you watch the movie itself, it's just kind of like, okay, what is this really doing that I haven't seen done before in many other movies like this? The cast is great. I like the chemistry between Connery, Hoffman, and Broderick as this grandfather, father, and son working together as robbers. I think that's a fun little concept to work with here, and I just kind of wish they had just a better script to make me give this to make me think this is better than some of the other movies that would be similar to this type of film. But I mean, for the most part, it's okay. I wish it would have been a little bit better, considering the talent involved, considering how good the trailer was, but that's Family Business. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie.
In the dead of winter, two desperate criminals escape from prison near the Canadian border. Some believe they perished in the woods.
Hey, I found them for you!
Sure, if you know who these are. Caroline has found our lost priest. This is Father Brown and Father Riley.
But who would believe that such a small town could make such a big mistake?
You don't look a thing like your pictures. That's the trash.
Now, they've got a profession to fake.
Bishop Nogalich points out it's his turn to say the grace.
Let him read. It's his turn. I don't want to get in everybody's face here.
A confession to take.
I've been sleeping with this woman.
Huh?
All right, what? You're not married to her? No. You married someone else?
To my wife.
Do I know about this?
No.
Well, what are you worried about then? Forget about it.
A woman to win.
Yeah, well, you don't like the guy. What'd you go to bed with him for?
For $5. What, and you got $5? I'll go to bed with you, too. What, you think that's a sin?
Actually, you got $5.
Get out of here.
And a future to plan.
Some booze and some broads, and this country can kiss my...
Robert De Niro.
Father, good shot.
I'm very happy for you.
Sean Penn.
Be nice to strangers, because sometimes you're a stranger, too.
This is not a fitting grace.
What's wrong with it?
We're no angels.
He says that there's something wrong about you.
Yeah, you told him you don't know the half of me.
We're No Angels. This is a remake of a 1955 film of the same name. Got a great cast involved. Robert De Niro, Sean Penn, Demi Moore. You also have Wallace Shawn, Hoyt Axton, Bruno Kirby. Produced by Art Linson, who produced The Untouchables. Written by David Mamet, who wrote The Untouchables. Neil Jordan, who would later go on to direct The Crying Game. And they made a pretty good movie. I won't say it's one of the best movies of the year, but I think it's a lot better than I think people give it credit for. There are parts in here where I actually did legitimately laugh a little bit harder than I think most people would have. But, yeah, it's a fun concept. It's a fun movie that they have here. I think there was a lot of elements that something like Sister Act probably took from this a couple years later. And I think Sister Act did this movie a little bit better, but what they have here is pretty good. I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. I like watching Robert De Niro and Sean Penn work off each other, and I thought Demi Moore was pretty good in the film. It's a pretty fun movie. If you haven't seen We're No Angels, I'd say definitely check it out. I think it's one of those movies that's a little bit more underrated, and I think people should give it another chance if they can. So, that's my thoughts on We're No Angels. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. The next movie is Paul Newman in Blaze.
The three best friends that the poor people ever had. Jesus Christ, Sears and Roebuck, and Earl K.L.
Mr. Governor. He was powerful and famous.
What is it, television? How do I look?
She was poor and unknown.
Have you ever thought about getting into the entertainment field?
You mean show business?
He was determined to be reelected.
There would be a chicken in every pot. Every man to be a king.
She was determined to be a star.
You brought me here to take my clothes off.
Well, if you won't do it for yourself, Blaze Star, will you do it for America?
This is their story.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Blaze Star, it's here.
Some show you got there, gal. It's a powerful expression of basic human needs.
Now, who's the guy with the pot?
That's the governor. He wants to meet you.
Earl Templar.
It's a great pleasure to meet you, Your Honor.
God, them's a big pair of rascals you got.
Are you talking about my eyes, Governor?
Call me Earl.
Touchstone Pictures presents Paul Newman.
I must say, you look like a Democrat to me.
As the legendary governor, Earl K. Long.
You can't stop the future, it's coming.
And introducing Lolita Davidovich as the heat behind the headlines. Blaze.
You know, Earl, in a certain way, we're both kind of in show business.
Well, you are catching on to the wheels of government real quick, child.
It was a romance that shocked the country.
Marry me.
After the selection's over.
And a love affair that couldn't be stopped.
Do you like to make love with your boots on?
There's better traction that way.
Damn it, Earl, you got trouble. People say you've been keeping company with a stripper.
Papers, no right, sticking cameras up people's pants.
Academy Award winner Paul Newman is Governor Earl K. Long.
What about that striptease dancer? Now that's a damn lie.
It's a damn lie.
Damn lie.
Not bad. Finest bunch of yes men ever assembled.
Yes, sir.
Now, we got to talk some sense into him, or he flushes the entire Democratic Party right down the crapper.
What are you scared of?
Scared of losing you. Dare fell in love with a striptease dancer. Well, they're right. I'm guilty.
Forced to choose between the office he held
Still love me if I wasn't a fine governor of the great state of Louisiana.
and the woman he loved.
Do you still love me if I was flat checked and worked in a fish house?
He chose both.
Blaze Star, you better get used to her.
Never trust a man who says trust me.
Can I trust you?
Hell no.
What a wonderful thing to say.
Blaze.
Something I gotta confess.
Well, what's that?
I can't cook.
We'll work around it.
Ron Shelton's second film after his first movie, Bull Durham, was such a big critical and commercial success the year before. This one was not the big success I think they wanted it to be, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I like Ron Shelton as a director and writer. He's very good at that. And you got Paul Newman giving probably one of his more fun performances I've seen from him in a long time. Lolita Davidovich is really good in this movie. She's been in a couple movies before this, even though the trailer says introducing Lolita Davidovich, but I think it's because this is the first movie where she literally uses her full last name. I think the Adventures in Babysitting, she only called herself Lolita Davida. So I don't know, maybe that, I don't know, but that's what I think. That's what my thinking from that. But yeah, this is a pretty funny movie. Like, this is a movie that I think a lot of people don't really talk about all that much. Not quite Bull Durham good, but it has enough funny moments in there, and the chemistry between Newman and Davidovich works so well that I think a lot of people should give it another chance if they can. It's a very funny movie, very well made film. I definitely say check it out if you can. Blaze with Paul Newman in it, definitely a very good movie. So let's go to the next movie, and the next movie is the biggest movie of the year in terms of the Oscars, Best Picture winner, and that is Driving Miss Daisy.
My mother's a little high-strung. The fact is, you'd be working for me. She can say anything she likes, but she can't fire you.
I wouldn't be in your shoes if the sweet Lord Jesus come down and asked me himself.
I don't need you. I don't want you. And I don't like you saying I'm rich. What are you doing?
I'm trying to drive you to the store.
You're speeding, I can see it.
We're only doing about 19 miles an hour.
I like to go under the speed limit.
But the speed limit's 35, yeah.
Nothing came easy.
Morning, Miss Daisy.
You leave my flower bed alone.
They didn't connect.
I just love a house and pictures, Miss Daisy.
I don't want you nosing through my things.
They couldn't agree.
You took the wrong turn at Opelika.
Well, now, you took it with me, Miss Daisy. And you got the map.
They wouldn't give in.
Well, I'll help you to the door.
Thank you, Hoke. I can help myself.
Now, ain't just some back of the net you look at while you going wherever you got to go. I'm a man.
But from place to place.
I ever tell you about the first time I leave the state of Georgia?
When was that?
A few minutes back.
From season to season.
It's not a Christmas present.
Oh, no.
Well, go on, open it up.
Well, look at that. Ain't nobody never given me that book before, Miss Daisy.
For 25 years, they shared each other's lives.
You ought not to be driving anything the way you see.
How you know how I can see less than you can look out my eyes.
And touched each other's hearts.
Hoke?
Yes.
You're my best friend.
Morgan Freeman, Jessica Tandy, Dan Aykroyd, Driving Miss Daisy.
Now, do I think this really is the best picture of 1989? Probably not. I mean, this is one of those situations where the best picture of the year was not really the best picture. Don't get me wrong. This is a pretty good movie. I like Morgan Freeman. I like Jessica Tandy. I like Dan Aykroyd. I like the cast they have here. But in a year where you had stuff like Do the Right Thing, Born on the 4th of July, some of these great movies that really did not get as big of an Oscar attention. Well, Born on the 4th of July did, but not Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing only got one nomination that year. Even something like Batman. Remember, the Academy Awards did nominate blockbusters back then, like Indiana Jones and The Raiders of the Lost Ark got nominated for Best Picture. E.T. got nominated for Best Picture. Star Wars, the original Star Wars, got nominated for Best Picture. And do I really think this is one of the best movie of '89? No, but like I said, I don't hate this movie. I think it is a legitimately good movie. I think it works mostly because of the cast. Jessica Tandy and Morgan Freeman work off each other so well, and Morgan Freeman gives a great performance in this. And sadly, he didn't get a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this. He would get one later down the line, but this is a good performance from him that I feel like should have. Actually, no, I take that back, because the next movie that we're going to talk about has the Best Supporting Actor winner in that year, and that I thought was a good performance. But Jessica Tandy, I think she did deserve to win Best Actress. Best Picture, not so much. Like, I don't think this really deserved to win Best Picture. But like I said, I do enjoy this movie a lot. I think it has a little bit too much of the same cliches you'd see in most Oscar bait movies. And, you know, like I said, I don't hate the movie. I think it's a very good film. I think it's a very well-made film. Do I think it's the best picture of the year? No. but at least I liked it a lot more than the remake of Driving Miss Daisy, Green Book, which won Best Picture, which I still don't understand why that won Best Picture. But let's be honest, Green Book is pretty much Driving Miss Daisy. It's the same concept, it's the same movie. No matter what anybody tells you, it's the same movie. But Driving Miss Daisy is a far better movie in my opinion. So there you go. That's Driving Miss Daisy. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Glory.
I ran away when I was 12 years old. I ain't never looked back.
What you doing since then?
I run for president. I ain't win, though.
You men enlisted in this regiment, the understanding that you would be paid $13 a month. I have been notified that since you are a colored regiment, you will be paid $10 a month.
I mean, a colored soldier stop a bullet just as good as a white one. And for less money, too.
If you men will take no pay, then none of us will.
Why push them so hard? Marching is probably all they'll ever get to do.
And they gotta know that nobody's gonna let them fight. Am I right?
Let you take your regiment out to fight.
When?
You are bright-eyed, aren't you?
When?
The time's coming when we're going to have to ante up. Ante up and kick in like men. Like men!
I ain't fighting this war for you, sir.
Ain't no dream. We run away slaves, but we come back fighting men.
We ready, kind of.
Hey, Mel, 54!
Glory, of course, takes place during the Civil War, and just phenomenal movie, man. One of the great war movies ever made, and this has the real Best Supporting Actor winner of the year. Well, he did win Best Supporting Actor, but Denzel Washington is fantastic in this movie. Morgan Freeman is really good in this movie too. I do also like Matthew Broderick and Carrie Elways in this, but Denzel Washington really steals the show in this movie. This is one of the first movies he ever won an Oscar for. And you can see why. He's given it his all in this movie. It's a great performance for him. And it's a great movie overall. I love the atmosphere. I love the visual style of this movie. The music by James Horner is great. It's a great It's a great movie about the Civil War. It's a movie that I remember watching in high school and thinking how good it was. And not many movies about the Civil War, in my opinion, really captures this in the modern movie era like this movie does. Like, you get some every once in a while, but this is one of the few ones that still holds up even over 30 years later. This is still a terrific, terrific film. If you haven't seen Glory yet, highly recommend checking it out. Fantastic Civil War film. And with that said, let's get to the last movie. And the last movie is Enemies, a Love Story.
Paul Mazursky, the director of An Unmarried Woman and Down and Out in Beverly Hills, now brings to the screen a story from Nobel Prize-winning author Isaac Bashevis Singer. It is 1949. The nightmare of Nazi Germany is over, and Herman Broder has come to New York City to begin a new life.
This is America, huh?
Mm-hmm. Married to the woman who saved his life during the war.
Will you have a child?
God wills it. We'll have one.
But in love with another woman, he can't live without.
All year you promised to take me.
I still a promise.
And the last minute, you changed your mind.
What are you hitting me for?
I'll go myself.
Until the woman they said was dead turns up in New York.
Wife has returned.
Very much alive.
But once and for all, how many wives do you have?
I'm not dead. I'm not alive and I'm not dead. The truth is, I have no claim on him. He probably always loved you. I'm sure he slept with you before me. I came to him a virgin. Oh, congratulations. Men love virgins.
Tony Award winner Ron Silver is Herman.
I'm marrying again. A third wife? I'm crazy, that's the truth.
Were you always like this? Or did the war do it?
In her American film debut, Margaret Sophie Stein is Jadwiga.
It's wonderful.
From the unbearable lightness of being Lena Olin is Masha.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
And Academy Award winner Anjelica Huston is Tamara.
With nylon stockings on. They dyed my hair, they polished my fingernails. God help me. I'm dead.
I can't live without Masha.
She's not your lover, she's your enemy.
Morgan Creek proudly presents a Paul Mazursky film, Enemies, a Love Story.
Another very underrated movie, in my opinion. This is a movie that not a lot of people really talk about. This is directed by Paul Mazursky, who did Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and can't remember the other movie. Let me double check here real quick. Moscow on the Hudson, that's what I wanted to say. He also did stuff like Bob Carroll and Ted and Alice, Harry and Tonto, An Unmarried Woman, Moon Over Parador. This is probably the last great movie that I see on his filmography that I really did enjoy. I do like this movie a whole lot. The performances by Ron Silver. You also have Anjelica Huston, Lena Olin, and trying to make sure I get this name right here. That's why I'm moving in closely. Margaret Sophie Stein. These people work off each other so well, and you actually do enjoy the script a whole lot. The writing and the scripting in this is really good. Roger Simon and Mazursky do a very good job of adapting this story, which is based off of I'm just double checking here again. It's based off of a novel. I thought it was but it was also an off-Broadway play, and if I remember correctly, I think Ron Silver was in the Broadway play of this, but I can't be for certain, but don't quote me on that. But the movie itself is really good. I love the performances by Huston, Olin, and Sophie Stein. I think they all give this unique performance to their characters that works very well. It makes you remember these characters so much. Ron Silver is great with the chemistry between all three of them. They're just coming off each other so good. And the music is very good. I like the cinematography. They did a very good job of capturing 1949 New York in a way after World War II ended. Just a phenomenal movie, a very underrated movie, but in my opinion, Paul Mazursky's Enemies, a Love Story, definitely a movie you got to check out. And with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we go to Christmas weekend, 1989, and that'll actually be the last set of new movies that we'll talk about, because the weekend after that will just be nothing but movies that have been already opened up and just the holiday overlap. So we use that weekend to look at some movies in 1989 we didn't get to cover. But next week we cover Born on the 4th of July, which is the follow-up for Oliver Stone after Platoon and Talk Radio with Tom Cruise in it. We also have Tango and Cash with Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell. Steven Spielberg's Always, the remake, is his remake, and Roger and Me, directed by Michael Moore. So we'll definitely look into those next time around. And thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, take care.